There is Antoine. Antoine never do custom branches, always pushes on devs. So this is Nick working on his branch. This is 6 days ago fixing typos, so we merged some things. Typos in the readmes. This is Jean-Thierry working his branch. This is Nick. This is Antoine. Doc test extension code highlight. Okay, does it work? Ooh, beautiful. But it's a test, so maybe it doesn't work. Okay, so let me check. Display management, readme. There should be some HTML and some JSON. Dev. Must be somewhere.
Placement.
What?
Placement. Core modules placement at the end.
Scroll down. You were nearly there. Keep going, keep going, keep going. It's the top of that section.
And this looks like JSON.
Lower. Yeah,
This looks like JSON and it's highlighted. Beautiful. So the module is just to highlight because the syntax highlighting was already working.
I don't know.
I'm not sure it was already working.
Which line you want to highlight?
But the formatting here for HTML, for instance, the syntax highlighting.
It was already working, yes.
Okay, good. So we can highlight. Interesting.
Format, yes. Because it's not C#, it's CSHARP.
Oh, I didn't type it. I usually type that. No, is it me? No, it must be Nick. And I'm sure it's. Well, you know what? Let me tell you something, Nick.
I do C# with C hash.
Yeah, let me show you something. You're funny. You're a funny guy. Core modules. Where is the modules thing here? Orchard core modules. So where is this page, for instance? Orchard core modules readme. If I click there, introduction. So this is the documentation about modularity in Orchard core, but this is outdated. Actually, we should update that. But there is something. Look like that. Read that. That's it. Wait, what? Okay, so right now you must be thinking, well, what the hell does this do? Good question. I'm like, who are you talking to? Yourself or?
No, it's just like if I was sat with someone, how would I describe it to someone that was?
Sure, but yeah, that's an article that you see. Okay, so first let's open it. You're talking to someone. You're not writing an article. It's funny. So, and when I read that, I think last week, I stumbled upon that and I was like,
I did too, actually.
I didn't write that.
I was wondering who wrote it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't write like this, and I think to myself, yeah, it must be Nick. It talks like it.
It's more of a conversation.
Yes, when you do a session, you will actually talk like this. You personally, I can hear you talking like this. It's funny. So yeah, that's interesting. Don't worry, Daniel will fix it because that's what he does. He fixes the things like this. I can't stand that. We'll make it like with verbs and words and
That's it. Wait, what? Okay.
You see? It's funny. We have a tool in Microsoft for all the code we ship that checks that there is no weird words inside, like foo bar. It's forbidden. It will fail your build if you have a foo and a bar somewhere, or something like Far East or red, any words that could be seen as offensive by anyone is removed. Like, so the I'm sure it's in the list.
Such a
Okay,
cool way to
just saying. And by the way, we need to update that, but because I'm sure it's not right anymore. We changed that.
Yes. And also did something else. I sent you an email.
I saw the email, but I was on vacation, so I didn't answer. Docs?
No, docs.orchardcore.fr.
Oh, it's okay. So I saw the same thing on GitHub pages. So if I go on GitHub here, there's a
It's using a material theme for mkdocs, and it's called, I will find the link.
what's the link to this one? GH pages.
Yes, because the first time I published the docs was on this branch, and I used this theme. Yes.
So there is a URL for that too, or we can delete the branch.
We could delete the branch.
Yes, so delete it, because otherwise I will always keep it. So yeah, and it looked exactly the same as that.
I bought this domain, but the orchardcore.net is already registered by a Chinese guy.
Yeah, but
Orchardcore.net is.
Yes.
that's okay. We have orchardproject.net.
So I'm just using. I cloned the repo, one on the master and one on the dev, and each hour I rebuild the. That was easy to do.
We can do orchardcore.io.
You could, yes.
We can do orchardproject.net
Also.
and have one site for Orchard Project.
But how would we call it? Which subdomain would we use? For core?
Do we need a new domain?
No.
Like, okay, Drupal has 8 versions. Boom, Drupal 8. And I'm sure there are links to the old things and yeah,
Just in core.orchardproject.net.
even do we need a subdomain, or if you want to point to a specific version, then there might be pages like Orchard Core, and
Will Microsoft pay for the domain?
it's not the issue of paying, it's about, do we need multiple domain? Do we want?
I think we should get orchardcore.io.
Why?
Because Umbraco has Umbraco HQ. And it's way better. It's 100% better than orchardproject.net.
Umbraco HQ. What do you mean, Umbraco HQ?
I thought it was Umbraco HQ. Oh, well, I still think we should have. I still think we should go with orchardcore.io.
The why orchardcore.io? What about everything which is not Orchard Core? Or do we have also Orchard Core CMS? And I mean, I don't know. Do we need a new domain?
I'm not a big fan of the orchardproject.net one, but
I would vote for just using Orchard, the existing domain, because we'll still have orchard1.x for foreseeable future, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just like ASP.NET has ASP.NET domain and they have ASP.NET Core underneath it.
yeah, first we need to know what we want to achieve with the websites, and then, okay, do we need a sub prefix? Do we need a prefix? Do we need a domain? Yeah, so we have a website which we can change as much as we want. We can decide to have a section specific for the latest version and some text also for the previous versions and everything. I don't see why we need a new domain or a new website, or maybe switch to a new domain completely and have a single website. I'm open to anything. It's not about the money, it's about consistency. Do people really care about the domain? As long as we can be found in Google, like if I type Orchard CMS, boom, you find it. So I don't expect people to know the domain name by heart. Like, I don't know what the domain name for Drupal is. I just tried Drupal.com, but otherwise I would just have tried Drupal and find it. Oh, it's actually .org, you see? So well, it happens that the .com was working, but so I don't really care about more domains. If you care, I will change that if many care, but I'm not sure.
Shame we can't get orchard.com, hey?
At some point, someone asked us if we wanted to get some domains, but we didn't really answer. Well, I didn't really answer because I think we have a domain. The name is already bad. Honestly, Orchard is hard to find. People type Orchard CMS to find us. I don't know anyone has issues with finding us. Then it's about organizing the website and having different sections. We don't need more subdomains or new domains to represent things. Harvest being different because it's an event and it's temporary. It has its custom content, but that's it. Documentation, we have a subdomain, do we? Yes, docs.orchardproject.net. Okay. So, because it's a different site actually. But if it's the same site, we can use the same domain or a different site, a subdomain. I don't think we need lots of root domains. But you can file an issue if you want to get a decision of having a new domain. Independently, there is a documentation website here. So why? So yeah, when I saw the GitHub pages, and you also mentioned, Antoine, multiple times to use the material design. I don't mind. It looks nice. So we need a new website because we can't do it in Read the Docs.
We cannot use the custom themes on Read the Docs.
Why?
Or we have to paste the whole theme in the repository.
Yes, because I saw it was doable. You can do that.
You can if you use a custom theme, pasting the whole.
Yeah, it's just CSS files and HTML files in a folder called documentation. That's an issue for me.
Okay.
If you want to do that, I don't care. We have already themes in Orchard Core, so for the CMS. So we have do we have a folder, right, for the? Let me see, Orchard Core.
Each time they do a change in material, the docs theme, we have to.
Yeah, honestly, even if we have one version at some point, and it's nice for us, even if they do 10 changes every day, we might not care about the changes, because if it's fun, if it's nice at some point, it will be nice for us for a year or 2 or 3. So, and at some point, if you want to update because there are nice things to add, then we can update. That's fine.
Yes, but by hosting it on my website, I can say Python. This is in Python. I can say upgrade the theme easily.
Yeah, but yeah.
But we could.
It's better if we don't have anything to handle, like no downtime and everything. And this way, yeah, no. Simplicity. So if you can do that on our repository, feel free to do that.
Okay.
If you can do that in a branch also, that will be even better. So you can do all the changes you want without touching dev and starting the CI every time. Even if you like have to add a new thing, like I don't know what it could be, development or what, I don't know.
Docs.
Preview, something like that, to docs preview, just so you can work independently from the dev branch, and then do all the changes you need. And when it's ready, you merge to dev and done. Yeah, because last time I realized we could add any files we wanted when I did the change to the font for these things, the code. So I wondered why you could not do the material design. Yes, if it's a and you can't reference external files because of course I assume read the docs would. Maybe you can actually add the reference to external files. You see, it's calling to
Yes, extra CSS file and extra JavaScript file. Yes, I can. And I did.
So there might be less files to add in the source code if you point directly to the CDN locations for the theme, if it's available somewhere. I'll let you do. You know better. Chris is green. Chris cannot see. And Chris cannot talk. He's not in the call. Okay, so status, that's it. Documentation updates. Nothing on master. Let I uncheck. This is Jean-Thierry, this is Nick, this is Jean-Thierry, this is Nick, this is Jean-Thierry, this is Nick, and proof of concept to show reordering parts. I saw the issue. I need to think about the issue because I didn't really understand what you meant, and I can see a microphone in the call. What did I miss here?
So I'm in the admin screens at the moment, and if I go to /GraphiQL, I haven't added a menu item. You can see you've got a schema, kind of like a schema navigator, which is kind of cool. So the idea behind this is that you are able to basically navigate your whole GraphQL schema through your Orchard admin screens. And what's quite nice about this is on the right-hand side, you've got you can navigate through your queries and your mutations. Mutations being the thing to create stuff. So if I click on that, I can see that I've got a mutation of create content and delete content and lots of other things, and I can navigate all the way down and see that I've got content parts and I've got content parts available to me. And that's quite nice. But what's even nicer is this. So if I go to my query, if I just remove that, I can start typing, and I have IntelliSense in here. So I'm going to write a mutation in GraphQL that's going to create me a content item. So a content item, which is going to have a content type of, let's say, blog. And it's going to have a content part of, let's see if I can remember how to do this. Yep, cool. So I'm going to have a title part on here. Title part, which is going to have a title of food. And that's cool. And then all I'm going to say is at the end, I want to return the content item ID. And I'm going to run that. And that's going to give me a content item ID back. So I can see that I've already created a content item, which is kind of nice. So let's see if this works, because I haven't tried this part out. So I've created a bunch of things. If I edit one of these, is this the content item ID or the content item version? Look. Maybe I will try with both.
go back in the history of your navigation on the right tab.
Yeah.
It was there, the top one. You have created two new blogs. So one a month ago, you see. This one is the one you created.
Okay. So it looks like the title hasn't gone in there as expected, but it's creating content items, which is quite nice. I plugged in this extra little syntax stuff over the weekend, but it doesn't look like it's wired up. The schema looks like it's working, but the rest doesn't. But it's quite nice. And to be able to see this kind of thing come in, and you get a history as well on the stuff that you ran, all out of the box. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. That's my demo.
And the queries, does it work? Can we see?
Yeah, so if I do a query...
Because mutations are useless, but that's my opinion.
So if I did a query for a blog with a content item ID of... Let's take this one. And I can say, let's just return the content type, and let's just see if a blog is returned. Okay, cool. So we got blog, and then I want to also say that I want the title part, which comes with title parts. Wrong here. Title part.
Maybe you need a comma on the content type.
No, it's not JSON. It's not what you expect. I probably have something wrong here. Content type. Let's just try this again. Title part like that. So I don't know why it's giving me a bit of jip. Maybe I've broken something.
Is it the colon?
Like that.
Do you need a colon there?
Yeah, I have a colon.
But you need it?
Yes. To denote
why
then
then is the next curly brace red? Like
yeah, so that's the issue. Something's wrong on this. I don't know what. Don't think it's like that. No, it
doesn't look like it should look like that.
It should be like this. Title. That's how it should look. But it looks like the schema is not being validated correctly, so that's probably the reason why. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to look into it.
That's okay. So query. Okay, query is not our query. It's a querying content item. That's weird.
Yeah.
Why is it called query then?
Query what? That?
Yeah.
That's just the syntax for GraphQL. That's a GraphQL.
Oh, I see. That's the okay. That's the name. Okay, I see.
Yeah, that's
a keyword. That's a reserved keyword. Okay, nothing to do with our query. Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah, not even audio parts working. So I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
Okay, good. That's a nice tool. People will love it. When you have GraphQL, you need that. Is there a client-side tool also that works the same?
A client side,
like desktop application that does that. You give it a URL for the GraphQL endpoint, and it will do the same thing, but client side and not server side.
Yeah. So this tool I took from the GraphQL.net repo, and you can literally just launch there. You can launch it and put a different URL in, and that will be fine. It all runs off. It all runs off of a GraphQL schema. An introspection query.
Okay, so there must be some desktop applications to do that.
Yeah. But yeah, so you can search and stuff like that over here, and
okay, I found one. GraphiQL app light electron-based wrapper. There are some of them. Okay.
You happy? Good.
That's good. Perfect. So next week, it works?
Maybe we'll see.
You need more unit tests. That's it.
I need more unit tests, do I?
You should have a unit test that does that, actually. Get a content item with the title part and return the title.
Oh, there we go.
You see the column you added?
I don't know. I think it was capital T. Don't know. Weird. 400. Maybe I've got something stopped or something. I don't know. Oh well.
You'll fix it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris is marked like correctly with he can view the things and everything. Chris, do you want to? Can you? He can talk.
I
Can
can
share.
talk, yeah.
That's beautiful. So what was your solution to use the web app?
So I've missed the entire first half of that call, so I'm not sure what Daniel's.
Nothing.
Okay, so basically, I just wanted to talk about in Orchard Core adding the ability to reorder content parts and fields
Okay.
via the admin UI.
Okay, but for the front end.
Yeah, for the front. Yeah, so it's easier said than done.
We tried it on Notch one. I know.
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know what's been discussed previously.
Nothing.
But obviously it's quite complicated because you've got stuff like each of the drivers can specify a location. You also don't know which zone to put the part shape into.
And you don't know which shapes you can export.
In what sense? So if the driver returned like a combined shape?
No, yeah, combined shapes of 5 shapes and then or 5 different. So
Yeah.
then which one you want to display, and they might target different. Yeah, there might be like an admin and detail and a detail admin and a summary. But then you see all of them, but you might not want to display the admin one on the front end. So
Yeah,
that's why they have a default location, and then you have to show it in the UI, and so it's doable, but we intentionally didn't do that. So I remember when I did the one for the Orchard one for the backend. So when you go to a content type, you can say edit position or edit something like that, edit placement, and then you have a specific UI for the admin to edit to place the things, because then you can change the editor. And to do that, I will render in edit mode a content item, so I could detect all the shapes which were rendered in edit mode. So they will be filtered out automatically by the default placement and by the drivers and the display type. And then I will render a placeholder in a reorderable list, so that you could redefine the position, the absolute position of each shapes that were rendered.
Yeah.
So theoretically you can do the same thing for the front end. The issue I see here is not even technical, is the value, the actual value that you give, because even if you manage to provide the best experience for that, so you manage, to extract only the shapes that you want for the front end, and you show all of them, all the field shapes, all the part shapes, all the common shapes, everything in an editor from the admin, then you will show placeholders, not actually what is rendered, because it's a generic content, it's not one content item. So it will be some generic placeholders that you will drag and drop in zones, so hopefully for the front end zone, like the widgets. But it will just be the placement. You don't know exactly how it will look like. And
then you've got the different display types too that you would have to represent in that editor.
That's not an issue. The main issue I want to go to is that when you have defined the placement, then you assume at that point that it's based on the default HTML rendering on the front end for each of these shapes, which is usually what you don't want. What you want when you customize that, then you also want to customize each HTML for each thing. So it's like, I'm afraid it won't be the end of what the users would like.
I think that if you could somehow manage to build a graphical UI for all of that stuff, it would be so complex that the people who would understand the structure would prefer to do it in the placement file anyway.
Maybe. So far, for all the sites we've done, I've never had to use the placement. We made things in HashiCorp easy to create custom templates using the templates page and the liquid views, and also for each part, for each shape, each part, each alternate, you can define a custom liquid template if you want, so that people will just write the full HTML for the thing they want to render. The issues we have right now is that we don't know what they can use. So there is nothing like the shape tracing. So when you start editing a template, you don't know what you can use to place things. One improvement we've done over Orchard 1, however, is that you can just say display the current shape. So it will render all the shapes from the current content shape in the order. And you can also say, oh, just get the shape named something to render it there. Like you can extract a shape based on for the title part and say render the shape for the title there. Okay, not using placement, but you say in the HTML template, here I want the title. And later on, you can say render everything else than the title shapes, because you extracted the title shape from the list of available shapes in the zone. You placed it where you wanted, and then you can say render everything else. Or you can even say render also the title again. So this is a nice improvement. I could show you an example with the blog post that we have in the default theme, how we do that. So this is a way to alleviate the issues with placement by just letting people editing an HTML file and saying what they want and what shape they want, where they want it in HTML. So it's the next level of placement.
Yeah, I noticed. So the use case that I thought for being able to drag and drop is, for example, the agency theme and recipe, where you basically have a landing page with 5 or so bag parts, 5 or so named bag parts. So the use case I thought was it would be good to be able to drag those around and possibly reorder the order of the site. But then I looked at the implementation and noticed that it's using the templates functionality. So yes, those parts are actually named within the template. So changing the order in the UI wouldn't make a difference in that case anyway. Yeah,
that's exactly what I meant. So you did the template for the landing page content type, and in this template we named when we render the landing page, we grab each back part shape and sub shapes by their name, because we named the back part and we know how the shapes themselves are named from each back part, and that's also why we documented it explicitly, to let people know what shapes they are available. However, something we could use, like the shape tracing, is not to have to look into the documentation to list all the available shapes. So like we did for the shape tracing, and you did too, because you also did the custom shape tracing module. Just fake a rendering of one of the content items and see what shapes are available, just to give a hint for the template editor that, oh, you can access that and that and that. Even better if there will be auto-completion, because as you type, you will see that. Or not, maybe just the list is sufficient, or both, I don't know. But maybe there is a story to provide here in the templates editor to let people know what's available. Right now, they know what data is available by just trying to dump the object. And if it's a JSON object, it will render everything. So you see which data you have, but you don't know which shapes you have access to. You have to rely to the documentation, which we try to make complete, but it might be harder for people to find what's available. And yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it had been talked about and thought about.
Good, but yeah, I hope you understand, or you have a better idea to make it work. But I don't think it's worth trying to make front end placement work from the admin, because it's more about theming, and most of the ones who will be responsible for theming the website on the front end will know HTML for sure, or it can be a requirement. We can tell them you have to know HTML, and I think that's a fine requirement, and they will probably have to understand how the theming works in Orchard and what the shape is, but we need to make their life easier. And I don't like the interfaces where it helps, but then you want to do something special or custom, and then the UI is not meant for that. So you will have to jump to the other part, which is go with your bare tools and do the HTML. So even if you spend 2 hours trying to do something, well, you will still have to do the HTML because it's too customized. So, or you will do something today that will work with the UI, and in 1 year you will have to change something, and nobody will understand how to do that because you use the simple UI, but actually you need the extra step. And Bertrand had a word for that. I don't remember. It was based on gap or something like that. So between a simple tool and then you have to go deep into the template. So yeah,
Okay.
I don't think that.
Yeah, and it sounds quite simple, but when you start thinking about it, it gets complicated quickly.
Yeah, right now I think we just need from the template's perspective, we just need a way to list what's available, what shapes are available, like the shape tracing would have done.
Yeah.
The issue being that the shape tracing is on the front end, so when we render something, we can show them, hey, this is what you could have used. Okay. Oh, actually, that's something we could do. Hey, that's something we can do. Because we have live preview. So you have the template on the left. You have the live preview on your right. In the live preview window, we could have a pop-up that will actually display what shapes have been rendered. So if you start your left template with just, display the model, like we could do, then you will see all the shapes which are rendered. And or introspect which shapes are available and not rendered. I don't know, something like that.
The shape tracing tool, you used to be able to like press a link or a button and it would create a CSHTML file.
Yeah.
Is that correct? So
Yes.
you could just do something similar that would just show you the create template or edit template.
It's hard. It's hard because the templates can come from so many different sources: code, Liquid, Razor, and at some point they might not even be in the file system, just in the assemblies because they're precompiled Razor views. So it might be hard to get the source code of that.
But I mean specifically with the editor templates. The templates module where you can edit the templates in the UI.
Yeah, but so is your comment about bootstrapping the templates UI with the current template?
So your comment with the content preview, so it would show a list of shapes that you could have used or templates that you could have used.
Mm-hmm.
You could just create a link off those just to basically open up a window with the template editor in for that specific shape.
These two, yes, and it goes to the template editor. Okay, so yes, when we render, you could have like we will have an edit content that will go to the content item edition. We could have edit template to edit the template that rendered this thing. That's some feature that shape tracing could provide. Yes, edit the template for that thing, and yeah, but it's doable because when we provide it, we could extend the rendering pipeline when we find the shape bindings, which define how to render a shape. Okay, we could also so there is a property called source, which is a hint about where is the shape binding coming from. A template file, a liquid, a template Razor file, a database template liquid file, a code method. So this is the source. This is just a string, but we could provide more than a string, so that when we render using the shape binding, we could also find the original source, the actual code or the actual template, the actual value of the template which has been used, and how to change it, so that when we use shape tracing and we render a shape, we could also give hints about, hey, this was rendered because of that and because of this text, so you want to change it, and reuse the existing code. Like, say, yes, I want to edit that, and by editing, you actually create a new template with the same original code that was used. So that should be a way to do that.
Is it worthwhile possibly updating the documentation or the UI in the content type definition just to make it clear that reordering parts in that UI won't have an effect on the front end?
Reordering parts in that UI.
Yeah, so what we just talked about, how this conversation started.
Oh, you mean when you are in the content type definition,
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
reorder
yeah.
parts, it won't change them in the front end?
Yeah, just to update documentation, just to...
Oh, yes, sure, because it's actually just for the back end.
Yeah, yeah.
The front end is completely different. Yes, yes, you can, yeah. Well, you can do even better, because actually, Antoine mentioned that a few months ago, and I commented on this issue because there is an issue for that, which is rewrite the content type definition editor. The idea being that I did it the way it is because it was super quick for me to have something working. Okay, you have a list of parts, you can reorder them. You click on a part, you have a list of fields. That's very simple. Okay, very simple UI. What we could have as a content type editor is something more single page application, like you see the full content type definition and their parts and their fields in the tree view or something like that. And you can drag and drop field types in parts, drag and drop parts in types. And when you click on an item, you have the editor on the right. So you stay on the same navigation. You don't have to go back and forth. Oh, crap, I'm no more on the content type list. So I need to go back to content definition to see the list of types and click on my type. You see, it's something more single page application. And thank you, Antoine, for linking to the issue. And yeah, what is the CMS we saw was doing that? I think Craft CMS does that. They have a different concept, which is a field. A field for them is an instance. So the same, you create an address field, and then you can reuse the address field everywhere. So you have to create a field before adding it to content type. In our case, a field is just a type. So we just drag it on the type on a part, and it will. So it's different, but the idea was that they have a single UI to drag and drop things, and to see all the settings of everything. You don't have to navigate to see the settings. You just click on the field and you see the settings on the right. You click on the other field and you see the settings on the right. So that's really something more useful. And then if you just want to comment on the screen right now that is just for the backend, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
But that's some plan I would like to see realized, that the content type editor be more user friendly. Again, I just did that because it was easier for me to just have the UI like this, server side baked. Yep. So I let you comment on your issue. That should be okay. Thank you. Custom fields. I'm not sharing anything, so nobody can see. Other questions?
So, what are you on? What are you looking at the moment, then?
Can you be more explicit? I'm looking at my screen.
No, I mean, questions about that topic.
No. What's the question?
Are you looking at taxonomies at the moment?
Oh, right now this morning I was working on something for ASP.NET. Last Wednesday and last Tuesday also. So right now I'm not doing anything for Onshot Core. But the next thing I do for Onshot Core is taxonomy.
Right, okay. Tell them to start off.
What?
Tell them to start off and let you get on with it.
Yeah, sure. As much as I can. Yep. But yeah, Topics. So yes, I work on taxonomy. I know Sipke is working or sometimes working on workflow. You're working on JSON APIs. Wells is working on something. Antoine is working on documentation. Chris is looking at something to work on. Unless you have ideas, Chris, feel free to share if you want to work on. If you don't have ideas, feel free to share. We'll find you some ideas. But usually we are driven by our needs. And yeah, Nix works on JSON API and modularity because of his needs. That's it. If someone wants to do something, we have a roadmap. Lucas Bart is back. He was back yesterday on Gitter. He made the portable object, the PO file implementation. So if he's back, he might work on localization. That would be cool. Yeah, taxonomies are very important. What else is important? PO extra. Oh, he's okay. Yes, he's just mentioning. I forgot that yesterday that he made a tool, PO extractor, that to extract all the calls to T to make translation files. I pinged Benedek to see how we can industrialize this to make it uncrowded, but maybe later when the source code is more stable. Otherwise, we'll have lots of work for nothing in terms of translations.
Themes. One thing I'd like to. I don't know if you replied to me on Gitter, but the theming stuff's quite. It's a bit of tie-in to the CMS at the moment.
I did reply. Yes.
You did reply. Okay,
yes.
Is it good, bad?
No, it's good that you made that. And yeah, the goal of theming is that it should not need anything from CMS. I think it doesn't need anything from the CMS, but it might be that some services are actually registered by the CMS.
Yeah, there are some.
Them. So yeah, we need to change that, file an issue, we need to fix it. The idea being that, so theming in Orchard Core is layouts, management, and shapes. Okay, this is all about shapes and layouts. And being able to select the theme for the current request. And that's it. This has nothing to do with CMS. There is no relationship.
I was thinking, like how we currently do add modules and use modules. Mm-hmm. I was thinking we probably should do something similar with... so the problem with themes at the moment is it has its own module to register the theme stuff, with the views and all that stuff, making the assumption that we have an admin screen.
It has its own modules?
Yeah, it has its own theme module. So I think you call add theming or something along those lines in one of the modules.
There is a add theming in a package, but not a module.
Yeah, it's referenced in. It's referenced in orchardcore.common.
Okay.
So we need to take it out and put it as its own module, I think, and make that a feature and make that a default module.
Yeah, or we can just make the web app. When we do add Orchard CMS, it does add theming, and that's it.
Well, add Orchard CMS does add theming at the moment.
Okay.
But we don't want to use add Orchard CMS because we don't want the CMS part.
No, I don't agree. Add Orchard CMS has to call add theming. But you have to be able to code add theming without doing add Orchard CMS, and that's fine. Where's the issue?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's okay.
What I mean. Yeah.
Okay. So add Orchard CMS is calling add theming. It doesn't mean that theming needs the CMS. It means that the CMS needs theming.
No. So theming still does need the CMS. It needs some parts of the data library, orchardcore.shell.
That's
data
bad.
Or something.
We need to change that. That's an issue then. We need to change.
Yeah. And also site settings. It needs site settings.
That might not be an issue. The iSite, it should need iSite or something. And an implementation is provided by the CMS using the data in SQL, but there should be a way to get things without that. We have to check. But yeah, that's totally doable because there is no way.
Well, I got it working. I got it working today.
That's
so
great.
that was
But
fine.
Yeah, if you need refactoring, do that now because beta 2.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, ideally we need an article explaining how to create a modular application using the theming only and not the CMS. Theming meaning then they can use modules that contain views and also be able to switch live using an admin and a front end. But this is what the admin module does, providing a filter to switch the theme based on a setting that defines what is the one for the admin and what is the one from the front end. So the admin module needs the theming module, but yeah, that's all bricks that should work independently.
Yep.
That's the goal. And if we had an article with that, that would be beautiful, because then we'll teach people how to build admin sites using the admin module. Because the admin module doesn't care about the CMS either.
The admin module does not care about the CMS. No, you're right.
That's good. So there might be some things to fix to make clear separations with the theming then. But the shapes, they don't care at all about content items. That's what one of the good refactorings on Orchard Core. Content management doesn't care about shapes. Shapes don't care about content management. We just have custom drivers for content management that help for creating shapes for content item. That's good. Good. And we can do also UI composition with shapes, like the deployment things, the settings things. They are not also content items. They have nothing to do with content management, but you can customize and do composable UIs with shapes for anything, even if they are not content items. That's good. Interesting. Cool. What else? I think we are good. Any questions? I forgot to answer. Cool. Just looking at the wiki for the roadmap. We also will have to work on improving some of the fully or partially implemented, because sometimes they're not really fully implemented, so just partially, so we need to make them better. Like localization is just partially implemented. We need to have settings, or the user management. Someone created an issue, we don't have the way to disable a user, and like in Orchard One, send emails and things like this. Taxonomy, output caching, not mandatory. Localization for both the UI and the content items. Updated recipes and themes. If someone wants to work on that, also same thing. Content filtering, so content tree. Also, we need a content tree, and then whatever is added there. Good. If you don't have anything to work on, just pick something and let us know, and we can do some progress. No more questions?
No.
Last week we shipped. We can see already some more people doing some websites and asking questions on Gitter. That's good. Just good feedback so far. People are happy to see it working. They like the modularity thing. Some people mentioned the similarities with Django, which is a modular framework, web framework, and also has a CMS, Django CMS. That's good.
Any internal feedback?
Internal feedback is congrats on the release.
Okay.
Then that's it. That's it. Good. Done for the day. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday or next week.